Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the J Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Nowakowski, and today I am joined by the half hooper himself,
Let's
George
go.
Martin.
What's
How
up,
you doing today?
everybody? I'm good. Finally back from Indy. Drove down to the March Madness tournament to watch UCLA play in the first four. Overtime win. Probably one of the better games I've been to like ever. So yeah, it was fun. I'm tired, but stoked to grind another podcast out.
Yes, yeah. He made the 5-hour drive to watch UCLA, and it didn't look good in the first half, but it looked good in the second half.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so this is not going to be a March Madness centric episode. I'm going to save that for tomorrow night when we're going to go over the first round. But today I put out on my Instagram some free agent moves you want me to talk about because that has been going on and something I've been wanting to get to. So the first thing we'll talk about was a request by JJ Butter, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Let's go.
And he said, Will Fuller to the Dolphins, kind of sus. I don't know what he meant by kind of sus. George, what was it sus? I don't know.
So, I mean, my first thought when I saw it, I was like, because Deshaun Watson's been linked to being traded to Miami. So I'm like, does he know something we don't? Is Deshaun going to get traded there because they've been looking for a quarterback because I don't think they like Tua much. So that was where I was like thinking, oh, that's a little bit interesting. But besides that, besides like the conspiracy theory point, I think it's a really good move. It's only a 1-year deal. Will Fuller was very, very good last year. He's going to be suspended for like a game or two because like PEDs. But I mean, you look at their receiver core outside of Devontae Parker, they really don't have anyone else like formidable. It's just a bunch of like special teams, those utility guys that, change of pace you can throw in there for a few drives. But yeah, it was just really, they only had Devontae Parker and they had Gesicki too. So they have very, very good options for Tua if they keep him coming into this year.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're doing is let's give Tua one more year. Let's get him some better receivers and see how he does. He did like throwing to Gesicki a lot. I did notice that in the games I watched. But so Will Fuller's contract to the Dolphins, it's a 1-year deal. The minimum he'll earn is $10.625 million. The max he can earn is $13.625 with incentives and bonuses and all of that going on. But yeah, he is going to miss the first. It's just one game, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, is this a move where you look at the Dolphins and go, okay, this could help them win the division, or do you kind of just see it as maybe a building block for the future? I don't know.
Yeah, it's more of a building block thing for me right now. I think in terms of contention, they would probably need to make an upgrade at quarterback. I don't hate Tua, but in that division, they already have a really good defense, and Brian Flores is a good defensive coach. Their problem last year was scoring, and Tua wasn't really making strides. They were switching him and Fitzpatrick, every other game it seemed, and that kind of hurt their rhythm. So I think if they go in as currently constructed, I think they could push for a wild card. But in terms of like serious contention, I think they would need to make an upgrade at QB.
Yeah. Who's their running back in Miami?
So it's oh gosh, I forgot his name, but I know Myles Gaskin.
That's right.
Gaskin.
That's
They did sign somebody, I believe. I don't know if Matt Breida is still there either, but I know for sure they have Gaskin.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because, I know they were linked to Aaron Jones, who ended up staying in Green Bay.
Yeah.
That would have been a huge. I mean, I don't know how much of a big move it would have. It would have helped them, but like Gasket's good. I think he's a good running back.
He was very solid. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good year. But yeah, Will Fuller, he should help out that Dolphins offense. He has incredible hands. I mean, he has some of the best hands in the game, in my opinion. I think he's also under the radar and an underrated player just because he was in Houston for a long time. So we'll see how he plays with Tua, but I think it's a good move. I mean, if we're grading moves, where would you rank this on as a grade?
I mean, it's not like that much of a needle mover. I'd say it's like a BB plus. It's solid. It's relatively low risk because it's 1 year. 10 mil isn't that much. And, he's going to be off the books next season. So you're not going to have a big cap hit. So, yeah, relatively good move.
Okay, and the next question actually came from you, Mr. George Martin.
Oh no.
You were asking about our Vikings, and
Of
so I
course.
just wanted to frame the question: do the moves the Vikings have made, do they make sense? Because in some ways they do, and in some ways they don't. So I want to get your opinion on the moves the Vikings have made so far.
Okay, so far, yes, most of them had made sense. I pretty much the biggest one, the headliner was Pat Pete. Yeah, really didn't expect that one at all. I know we were talking about this. I don't know if I addressed this or you did on the pod, but our biggest thing was a veteran corner that could
Yeah.
mentor the guy, Gladney and Dantzler. Didn't expect it to be Pat Pete, who is still relatively very good. He's not at like that Pro Bowl elite level, but he's only 30, and he did very good last season against some of the better wide receivers in the NFC West. In terms of addressing up front in the trenches, O-line, we haven't had relatively anything. So I know you said Vikings moves that we have made. We haven't done that. So hopefully we can address that. But up front defensively, signing Dalvin Tomlinson, that's an incredible move, especially if we can keep Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
Incredible for the stopping the run, which we kind of suffered on last season. And then I am I miss am I really we brought back Chad Beebe, but am I missing any other notable ones?
I'm just gonna go over it. So there's Dalvin Tomlinson. He was the big. He was. I think he was like the big splash. Him and Pat Pete.
Yeah,
Um.
definitely.
So it's a 2-year contract worth 21 million, and there's actually 3 void years. So it could actually be a 5-year deal in the long run. Which
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. I just read that and I was
That's
like,
cool.
oh. And that's like a way to like mess with the cap. A lot of teams are
Yeah,
doing these
that's
void
exactly
years.
what the Saints did with Taysom Hill.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't get
So
it.
yeah, so there was Dalvin Tomlinson. We brought back Chad Beebe on
Yes.
a league minimum, non-guaranteed roster spot. And then it was Nick Vigil.
Right.
He's
Right.
going to be a backup linebacker. It's a 1-year deal worth $1.75 million. So it's a cheap contract. He's played with Zimmer before back in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Um, and well, he was very young. He
Yeah.
had a very bad year with the Chargers. But he'll be a backup to Barr and Kendricks. I think it's a good. I mean, it's good as a backup just because they both do have an injury history.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And then Chad Beebe, Patrick Peterson, Nick Vigil. Oh, and then we brought back Rashad Hill. He's going to be a backup tackle most likely, unless we sign nobody.
Hopefully a backup, please.
Yeah. Some notable names, I guess, that are still out there that I have. There's so on the offensive line part, Nick Easton hasn't been signed. Eric Fisher hasn't been signed. I'm sure there's a few other names. And then we've also, you and me have texted about this, the rumors of Cordero Patterson coming back and Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh my god.
He's from Minnesota, and if you haven't
Jeez.
seen it, he was a ball boy for the Vikings as a kid. So, I mean, it'd be cool to see him back. Which moves would you like to see the Vikings make?
I mean, impact wise, definitely like Nick Easton, or any sort of offensive lineman is going to be the most impactful, the best move. But I mean, Fitz, oh, that'd be so fun just to watch him. I mean, he would definitely be like wide receiver 3, but I mean, even in the red zone, having him, Jefferson, and Thielen with Irv Smith and Dalvin Cook. I mean, that's like, who
Yeah.
pick your poison defense, so that would just be fun to watch. But impact wise, definitely O-line is the premier move that we would need to make.
Yeah. So the position still. So I'm looking right now, and this is fairly updated on offensive linemen still left. The only one. So here are the top ones: Russell Okung, left tackle, 33 years old from Carolina.
Okay.
Left tackle, Eric Fisher. He's 30.
That's not bad, yeah.
We have Mike Pounce. Oh, he retired. No, he's not there. Alejandro Villanueva.
The Steelers guy, yeah.
He's 33. I don't like these older guys, especially right now.
I mean, if it's more of a 1 year, like a 1 year flyer, big contract, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad move, but you do want to see some consistency there. You don't want to keep plugging in guys and in and out.
My guess also. So I think Nick Easton might come back just because he's familiar with the Viking system. I also think another one, Tom Compton. I don't know if you remember him. He played guard for us. He was okay. He's
Yeah.
a free agent and he knows the system. I feel like that's what it's going to end up being. It's going
Hmm.
to be bringing in someone who just knows the system and seeing if how well. And then Mike Remmer stayed in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he resigned. Wow.
Yeah, he just did today, I believe.
Oh, okay. So, all right. But yeah, so those are like the offensive players left, offensive lineman players left. But I think the Vikings have improved their defense a lot, and they're getting some guys back. And I know there was like, I know I didn't let you know about this, but the Daniil Hunter situation, how he was upset. And now there are reports that it's basically like Mike Zimmer had a phone call with him, and those rumors of him holding out aren't very true. I don't
Please.
know. And like he
Please.
put his Instagram pictures of the Vikings uniform back up, which I mean, a lot of people are like, okay, well, whatever. But think about it. Stephon Diggs took down all of his Viking stuff and started putting in workout shirts on his Instagram. And what happened to him? He got traded.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a few other players who have done that. But hopefully Daniil Hunter comes back because that's a big piece. One signing, Stephen Weatherly. He was a
Yes.
very well, technically he was cut, and now he's back with Minnesota. He can help that defensive line. But have
Definitely.
you liked what the Vikings have done so far?
Well, from where we were in day one, yeah. I've been relatively satisfied. I wanted to make a move. This we signed Tomlinson, we signed Pat Pete. Those were roughly 10, 11 mil a year. I kind of wanted to use that money on like a premier guard lineman.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
mean, I'm not mad because those were two bigger holes on defense, which was way worse last year. We had a pretty efficient offense, so I'm relatively happy. Probably like a just like a B minus. If we get
yeah.
any sort of upgrade at O line, it'll be A minus A.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, for coming from day one and missing out on Thuney, Shaq Griffin, all these other players that they supposedly gave contract offers to. And then, today they did lose Anthony Harris, so they're going to have to find a cheap safety. I know we've already talked about names, so
Yeah,
we'll see who they end up going after. This team has not been scared to spend money. Bill Belichick, uncharacteristically, is spending a ton of money, the most they've spent in almost a decade, when the cap has been one of the lowest in a long, long time. So I'm just gonna list off some of the players that that they have signed. So they re-signed Cam Newton. They signed tight ends Juanu Smith and Hunter Henry. They added Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne on the defense, I believe. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Kendrick Bourne. And then, oh no, he's offense. My bad.
yeah, wide
On
receiver.
defense, on defense, they added Matthew Judon, and that they I think they added a corner from Philadelphia too.
Jalen Mills.
Yes, and I believe that's all. Unless you're seeing other ones that
There's more, but in terms of notables, you covered them all really.
what do you? I mean, what are the Patriots doing here, spending all this money? Like, are they wild card? Are they trying to pursue that? What are they doing?
I like it. I first off love that they brought Cam Newton back. I thought he kind of got the short end of the stick last year with so many defensive opt outs, not really having any NFL level talent on his offense either. He got COVID relatively early. They were doing well too to start out the year. He got COVID and then it kind of just train wreck. They still won a respectable amount of games. They were only a few games out of the wild card, so they brought in very good core pieces. Matt Judon is probably the best one overall. He's a very good linebacker.
Yeah.
They brought in two tight ends, which isn't really unfamiliar because Belichick has always ran two tight end sets. That's his thing. And people are kind of like, oh, they spent so much money on, guys like Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar while Kenny Golladay was out there and Juju Smith-Schuster and all these good receivers. But it's like, outside of Randy Moss, when have the Pats ever had a notable elite? They were using guys like Chris Hogan, who was a lacrosse player, and Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, all these short, white,
Yeah.
and they're Julian Edelman has a Super Bowl MVP, and he wasn't this big elite all pro wide receiver. That's like so Bill Belichick knows what he's doing with the talent that he brings in. He's really good. They've always really been good defensively, and now they have NFL bodies. They were kind of just using
Yeah.
young rookies, replacements that were thrown in a COVID year, and it's so much harder to adjust with all that. I definitely think wild card is where they're going to be. I don't see them winning the division because the Bills are going to be back and healthier and even better with another season under Josh Allen. But
Yeah.
I would be kind of shocked, health permitting, if they didn't make the playoffs overall.
Yeah, and so I like most of the moves they made. And then they're getting a bunch of guys back on defense. Patrick Chung did retire though.
Yeah, that was a
which
little bit surprising.
I was surprised. He's 11 years in the NFL, and they were 11 really good years though.
Yeah.
So, maybe he just because I know he was I believe he was one of the opt outs for the season.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe he was just enjoying that time off. I guess I don't know, but the one Cam Newton, I'm cool with him coming back.
Yeah.
I was just surprised with the amount of quarterback rumors and free agents that Bill didn't try. I mean, you had Jimmy Garoppolo rumors, you had Jacoby Brissett, who's a Belichick system guy as well as a free agent. You had Sam Darnold is on the market, Gardner Minshew. You had some other quarterbacks that are on the market that are younger than Cam. But Cam has a year in the system. I'm cool with him running it back.
I like it overall because you have all these former Belichick guys. Cam really isn't a Belichick type quarterback, but I think they developed something. They have a bond. They have trust. He wanted him back.
Yeah.
He's got him replacements, got him weapons. And it's like, hey, let's go do this. And I'm happy. I'm glad. Cam has a starting job. I absolutely love watching him play. I always have. So I'm excited for them. They're probably going to be one of the teams I watch the most outside of the Vikings next season. So I'm excited for them.
Yeah, a lot of interesting pieces. I'm excited. Yeah, and we, you really nailed it with he loves the 2 tight end system. Gronk and Hernandez came from the same draft class. One was a second round, one was a 4th round, and they thrived with that. So, it's something he's familiar with, and we'll just see how it goes for them. The Saints they're going to have a QB battle. Sean Payton already said it's going to be a battle. Drew Brees announced his retirement, and they re-signed Jameis Winston to a 1-year deal, and then they gave Taysom Hill the most complicated contract ever by making him the highest paid quarterback, but not really because it's voidable for like every other season or whatever. I don't know what the hell
The
they
salary
did.
cap is just a myth. It's not real at this point.
I'm not even going to try to explain what they did. Because I would it'd make my brain hurt. I'm so confused. Anyways, yeah. I'm going to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the Saints starting quarterback week 1 of the season?
Okay, well, there was kind of like an open trial last season when Brees went down with his 12 cracked ribs and punctured lung or whatever, and they started Taysom Hill, which I was surprised. They brought in Winston, and I thought he would have gotten his shot or whatever that happened. They brought him back again on a relatively decently big contract, not too crazy. I think he's going to be the starter this time. I think, Drew Brees kind of looked at Jameis Winston when he came off the field for the last time, and he's like, he kind of pointed at him like, this is your shot, this is your team now. So I'd expect that he learned a lot under Brees, and Taysom Hill was just kind of the midseason throw in there because he's like a complete wild card with how he plays, and they just ran the whole time when he was there. So I think coming into this year, hopefully they'll get a mini camp, a preseason, so he'll be able to get himself situated. But I definitely think it's going to be Winston this time around.
I think it'll be Winston. I have concerns with where their QB situation is at. Not with Winston, with Taysom Hill, and it's just how they use him. They put him on special teams. They put him in for random plays to run the ball. The Saints need to get like a third quarterback because what if you run? No, I'm serious though. What if you run Taysom Hill out there and he gets injured? And then you have Jameis playing quarterback. Like, say Taysom Hill gets hurt playing tight end, then you have Jameis. Now you're running the risk
No
if he
backup.
goes
Yeah.
exactly if he goes down, you're screwed. So I don't know who the hell you bring in. I mean, probably someone no name cheap guy, something like that. But I think they do need to get a third quarterback.
Josh McCown still in the league. I know he loves playing for every NFL team. It seems
he's actually like part of the Texans like front office technically now. He's basically what they're doing. Like he's basically lining up to be a head coach or front office guy. Yeah. So yeah, we both agree Jameis I think should be the starter. Another move that actually happened today was after saying through an Instagram poll that he was not going to be returning. Juju surprised us all as he always likes to do. He signed a 1-year, $8 million contract. Yeah, Corvette. He stayed and put with Pittsburgh. He had offers from other teams, which is interesting. I'll tell you those offers because I know you read about it. He had an offer from. So the deal he got is technically the cheapest offer he got.
Yeah.
He gets 1 year, $8 million from the Steelers, $3 million in incentives that can be added.
Wild.
So, and then the Kansas City, 1 year, $8 million, $4 million in incentives. And then the highest offer was Baltimore, 1 year, $9 million, and I think it was $4 or $5 million in incentives, I want to say. So he had other offers, and one of them to a division rival. Do you like him staying in Pittsburgh? Would you have rather seen him go? I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
It's just like complexing how bad the wide receiver market is this year. There's been a lot of notable names, and I mean Juju only getting $8 million. I know he wasn't that good last year, but it's just wild to hear. And the Ravens and the Chiefs offering him. I mean, I don't know. Those are two like the big dogs in the AFC. So I'm surprised that they would, but. I mean, yeah, I guess it's a good move, and it probably helps Pittsburgh stay relatively low under the cap. I don't know how much they're over if they are anymore, but it's cheap. He's kind of betting on himself too, and he wants to stay with them, run it back another year. So it's probably like a prove it season. I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good for Pittsburgh certainly because they're bringing Ben back, and they're probably going to give it one more run. Hopefully, they don't have a monumental collapse like they did last season. So
I'm okay with them running it back with him. I feel like there's bad blood there with everything that happened with the dancing on the logo, then the downfall and his downfall. He had a pretty crappy end of the season. So I thought he said goodbye a while ago. I didn't think things were good with him in Pittsburgh. Kansas City, that deal, I mean, that team didn't make a lot of sense to me. They have a ton of weapons already. I don't know what adding another one would have done.
Rich get richer.
I guess. Baltimore, though, they needed a receiver. They still need a receiver. I think that would have been really good for Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown. I thought that would have been good for them to get Juju in there. He stays in Pittsburgh. It keeps them afloat. I think they're the worst team in that division.
Worse than the Bengals?
I think the Bengals got better. They got Joey B. They got Joey B coming back, and they got a young team that can win games. And they're definitely worse than the Browns. And I think the Ravens are still better than them.
I would agree with those two. I don't know about I don't even know if the Bengals addressed O-line issues. Maybe if they did,
they signed a few guys.
Then maybe we'll see. I mean, I guess I need to know how, because Pittsburgh's defense did take a hit. Like they lost 4 of their most impactful guys. So
Dupree,
Nelson is asking out or has been let out. And a few other guys up on the D line too. So
I mean, we'll see how the season plays out. But I mean, I like Juju betting on himself. I know he's a USC guy. I've always been a fan of him. I know. I had to say it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I I've always been a fan of him until like the whole logo dancing thing happened, and then it blew out of proportion, and then he kind of became like, I don't know.
He
I didn't
got
like.
targeted. There was that one Bengals game. He
Yeah.
got mauled.
Yeah, well, and then it was like going on Fortnite and putting himself in a Green Bay jersey and all this shit. I was like that I found that really petty. I didn't like that. So like I don't know how I feel about him, but he stays there. One team who has been very busy though this offseason has been Arizona of all teams. Um they had, I would say, a disappointing ending to the season because they were really primed for a playoff spot and they kind of blew it losing the last two games, Kyler Murray getting injured. So they bolstered up the team. First, they add in free agent J.J. Watt, and they also they did lose Kenyon Drake, but I'm trying to remember. They signed a few good players. I'm trying to remember the names. Do you remember?
Well, I know they lost Kenny Drake, but they have Chase Edmonds, who's a good backup guy. But
Yes.
they brought in, I believe, Rodney Hudson, correct, from
Yes,
the
they
Raiders.
traded for center Rodney Hudson.
Yeah,
Yep.
all pro. That's really good for their O line.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about what other moves, but to answer your question, so I have them actually now second in that division. So I would put them that they're definitely playoff contenders. Serious, I'm not too sure. I definitely think they could make noise, like even in a divisional round. But my concerns with that, just like that division, is
Ah,
Seattle really didn't do much to help out Russ. They brought in like one guard, but they lost Shaq Griffin and they replaced him with like Witherspoon from the Niners, who got absolutely chewed up by every good receiver.
yep.
And then with San Francisco, I don't know, their health is the biggest question mark, and their offense. They lost Bourne, Jimmy G, their run game. I don't know. They're a big question mark to me. So I definitely
Jimmy
have
G's a question mark to me. Yeah.
basically, yeah. So I definitely have them at the top of that division. So yeah, I would say they're contenders.
Okay. We forgot one move, and I remember when it happened. AJ Green signed there. So him and DeAndre Hopkins, and you have Christian Kirk, and you have a young tight end. I can't remember his name. I want to say it's like Edwards,
Is
Max
it
Edwards.
Max Edwards maybe?
I think that's the
Or
name.
is it
I want to say.
Dan something?
I think it's Max Edwards.
No, I'll look that up while you talk.
Okay, but anyway, so they signed AJ Green, and then they signed kicker Matt Prater from the Detroit
Right.
Lions, which kicking actually has been an issue in Arizona. So
Yeah.
cool. Their re-signings were Tanner Vallejo, offense outside linebacker Marcus Golden, and they returned their punter Andy Lee and their right tackle Kevin Bisham. Some of the players who are tendered, a few linebackers, not many notable names, but Hassan Reddick left. That's a big linebacker that left.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson, as we said, went to Minnesota. Running back Kenyon Drake going to the Raiders, and special teams Trent Sherfield heads to the 49ers. Did you get the tight end's name?
So yeah, there's two. So Dan Arnold, I knew he was pretty good. The Max guy is Max Williams from Baltimore.
Max
Yeah.
Williams. That's right. Okay. So to answer the question, which is, are the Cardinals series contenders? I think they are. I think Kyler's game has improved. It's going to continue to improve. You still have a good running back there. You have three really good wide receivers. If you want to add in Andy Isabella, who's still young, four, really. A young tight end. Your offensive line's better, which is going to do so much for Kyler Murray. Your defense did take a hit. I will say that, but I don't think it'll affect them too much in that division where it's a lot of high power offenses in the NFC. I'm excited to watch Arizona. They were a fun team to watch last year. I think they're going to be, it's not a word, but they're going to be funner next year as well. Yeah. And next we have, I know everyone's favorite this team always makes the Vikings look so damn good. It's the Chicago Bears. Costa, I'm sorry. It's all love. So they were again, Bears Twitter was convinced Russell Wilson was coming, and instead they signed Andy Dalton as their quarterback.
Red Rifle.
Oh baby, the red rifle. And then I don't know if I told you this, but then the Vikings put out their hype video for Dalvin Tomlinson, and their first clip is him sacking Andy Dalton, and I'm like, alrighty,
let's do it.
Yeah,
let's
seriously.
do it.
So yeah, they bring in the red rifle. They still have Nick Foles. I think there's actually going to be a quarterback battle here. Both are mediocre at best. But what intrigues me with the Bears quarterback situation is the offer they put in to get Russell Wilson. So according to Dan Patrick and his source, he said that the Bears offered 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and 2 starters. Names have been thrown out, nothing confirmed. The most common name I've heard in almost every trade was Khalil Mack. In a lot of them, it was Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks. It was Fuller, their cornerback, and Khalil Mack. It was there was a few other names that one of their receivers and Khalil Mack.
Maybe Anthony Miller, Darnell
That's what
Mooney.
it is. Anthony Miller and Khalil Mack. Like, so a lot of names are thrown out there, but in each one I've read, it's been Khalil Mack. So, would you have done that deal for Russell Wilson? Looking from Seattle's side and then looking from the Bears side.
Honestly, it's a tough situation. I look at it like this: if Russ was like hell-bent on I'm not committing, I'm holding out, yada yada yada, I think Seattle should have done that. 3 first, a second. That's beautiful to rebuild. Khalil Mack is a stud that would help their defense out. You can't even measure how much he helped that defense out because they were really bad at points during the season.
Yep.
And their offenses, they have weapons, and you get an average to above average QB, you're going to be a contender in the NFC West. But I think as of right now, I think the relationship is still good. So I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have sold out on Russ so quickly. From the Bears' point of view, I think that's kind of dumb, actually, because Khalil Mack is like the guy that holds their defense, like the elite defense, apart because he gets doubled. It helps everyone else on the D line. Their secondary has regressed a little bit, but it still helped because they get a lot of pressure on teams. And you give up him and you give up all those picks, and then Russ is just kind of in the same situation. Crappy O-line like Chicago has. Defense isn't that elite. And then on top of it, they wouldn't have any assets to help him out. So honestly, on both, I'm kind of glad that didn't go down.
Yeah. So I'll look at from Seattle's standpoint, I would have probably done it only because Pete Carroll is a defensive coach. His offense is so outdated, and it was shown this year more than any other year.
They got figured out. Yeah.
So from the Seattle situation, I'm going to get 2 defensive starters who are still very talented players, and I'm going to get 3 firsts and a third, and I can figure out my quarterback. You found Russell Wilson. He was like a 3rd or 4th round pick. You found him, right? I would have done that. From the Bears side, I would have not done that at all. I would have stayed way away from that. I wouldn't have even offered that. I was shocked they offered that. Yeah.
See, now I think something like, maybe not like a Khalil Mack, but in terms of assets for like a Deshaun Watson, who's a lot younger. Yeah. Russ isn't old by any sense, but if you're going to acquire him, you kind of need a team that's like, ready, let's go. We're going to be top of the top now. And Russ would obviously elevate those title chances, but you sell out your best defensive player, Khalil Mack, and you have no assets with Russ, who's about to be 33.
Yeah.
You're not looking too bright, especially with the quarterbacks that are getting older. You need to protect them and have an elite defense. Look at Tampa. They had both of those.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of Tampa, nice transition there, George. The champs are basically running it back. So first, Tom Brady created a restructure extension type deal, which has voidable years, and it's also a very complicated contract. I'm not going to try and explain it. It's confusing as
Makes
hell.
no damn sense.
The cap is a myth. We all know that. It doesn't actually exist. Anyways, they brought back Shaquille Barrett, Levante David, Rob Gronkowski. They also put the franchise tag on Chris Godwin. And am I missing any big move? Am I missing any moves?
You might be missing one guy defensively. I thought there was a little bit more, but
Let me see.
yeah, look that up, and I guess I'll just talk. But I mean, coming into free agency, again, I literally thought there was no way that they could have kept everybody. I thought at least one of Shaq Barrett or Levante, one of those defensive studs, would have had to go. And here they are. They run it back completely, and their team is. They're probably going to be up there to repeat. Now, they don't even need to win that division, and I think they probably will, unless Deshaun Watson goes over to Carolina with the Saints expected to fall. But yeah, they're locked and loaded. They're ready to go, and probably going to be a favorite to repeat. Nothing much there.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing right now on re-signed players, Shaquille Barrett, Levante David, Tanner Hudson, Jemiah Letbetter, Patrick O'Connor, Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Stinney. They still have a ton of free agents though. Holy crap. Their big one is Ndamukong Suh. He hasn't agreed.
That's who I was thinking of. I thought they re-signed him. Okay.
I don't believe he has a deal yet. I believe
he doesn't.
They brought in Joe Haig. He was I think he was on their team. Then he was a free agent. But anyway, he's a tackle. Other notable names: Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette, who has been linked to the Patriots.
Oh, he hasn't gotten picked up yet? Playoff Lenny. Interesting. Okay.
I know. With his play. So before the playoffs, I wasn't sure. After the playoffs, he deserves a decent deal.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the Patriots are in on him, that's interesting.
I'd like that move, actually, for the Pats.
Quarterback Blaine Gabbert, LaShawn McCoy, their kicker Ryan Suckup, but
yeah,
nothing too big. The Patriots really are running it back, and
Bucs.
Did I say the Patriots? Oh my god.
Yeah, you're good,
man. The Bucs. And yeah, Brady always does this thing where he's going to take pay cuts. He went into the Patriots front office, said, "Take my pay. I'll give a pay cut. You give me back Shaq Barrett and Levante David, and we'll figure the rest out." That's basically what he did. And then Mahomes did the same thing after they had to release 2 offensive linemen. He said, "I'll take a pay cut. You go get me Joe Thuney," and they did. And so these quarterbacks that always want to demand this money never win championships. It's the ones that take that pay cut that win championships, in my opinion. It just amazes me to see that Brady does this every offseason. He takes a pay cut, which is another reason why the cap is a myth.
Thank goodness I do a basketball podcast, because I couldn't imagine when it gets to the off season having to cover and go in depth, because I would need to hire a salary cap guy just to talk, because avoidable years and restructures into signing. Dak's making $75 million, which just doesn't seem real. You probably can't even do that in Madden. I bet you if I got on franchise mode and tried restructuring deals and doing all this and signing, but Madden would break. I don't think you could do it.
Yeah. So the easiest way for me to figure out cap is overthecap.com. It literally updates you every minute on what your team's cap is and what the cap, it tells you what the cap hit would be, what's the dead cap. It's a pretty easy way. But one of the big things is everyone talks about, everyone loves getting a big signing bonus. That's how you manipulate the cap. But you can't do that shit in Madden. They don't want the big signing bonus and whatever.
And it's always funny too. I'm kind of getting off topic, but just in Madden 2K, any of these sports games, you try and recreate these trades or these moves that teams have done, and it's like you stupid. Did you just do that? And it's it happened in real life, man. I'm being realistic.
Right. Or Madden, they give you, we're not giving up one of our best players. Well, you did in real life. I'm confused.
Your stupid GM did. Why won't you?
Right. So the next last thing I think we're going to be talking about is going to be the Washington football team. They have had a couple nice signings. They re-signed quarterback Taylor Heineke. They're bringing in Fitzmagic. And I don't know if you saw this one. They signed Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel reunited with
Riverboat Ron.
Well, Riverboat Ron, but his Ohio State teammate, Terry McLaurin.
Scary Terry.
Yeah, so their team back up together. I guess my question to you here is, who's the starting quarterback in Washington week 1? Is it Heineke or is it Fitzmagic?
I hope it's Fitzmagic. He should have been the starter in once he took over for Tua. I thought he should have had it the rest of the way, but they brought him in. I definitely think he's going to start. Heineke, he had that playoff game. He had like the best performance against Tampa in the playoffs, but I definitely think with the inconsistency at quarterback last season, all the injuries, they're going to keep Heineke as their number 2 and just make him sure he's fresh and all that. But Fitzmagic still has a lot left in the tank. They brought him a weapon, really good offense, Scary Terry, Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson, and then you got like Chris Sims or something. That it's a really good offense for him. So I definitely think he's Fitzmagic's going to be the starter.
Okay. So Heineke's contract is 2 years. It's $4.5 million guaranteed, $8 million with incentives. Fitzpatrick, 1 year, $10 million. Pretty simple. I think that's the most he can earn, but cool. Yeah. And also Washington's defense is already great. They didn't lose anyone. I don't think they've added anyone on the defensive end, but I don't think they need to, in my opinion. But I'm excited to see this Washington team. I think they might be able to win the division again.
I was just gonna say that I'm gonna pick them unless like a team like the Giants add Kenny Golladay or the Eagles do something. I think I'd put a healthy amount that the football team is gonna win that division.
Yeah, I would too. And yeah, if Kenny Golladay goes to the Giants, they still have some defensive issues. They lost Dalvin Tomlinson, who, if you actually look at defensive tackles, he was the number 1 get on a ton of lists. And yeah, Skull. I'll give Rick the credit there. He got the guy and it's interesting playing 2 nose tackles, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the moves Washington made. I'm excited to see them and this team. And you have an amazing coach, Ron Rivera, who has fought off cancer and a great story. You're going to have a new football team name next year, I believe. And if you look at all the other teams in that division, like everyone else has a big gap. Like the Dallas Cowboys, Dak is a question mark. Zeke is an awful contract. And that defense was awful. And you have an aging offensive line. The Giants, Saquon's health is a concern. Daniel Jones, I don't even know if they like him anymore. And that defense is a question mark.
Yeah.
And then in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts is... I don't
even know if they trust him.
It doesn't seem like they do. They say they do, but I don't think they do. It's just like the Jared Goff. He's our quarterback for now. Wow, there's a confidence booster for your young QB.
Sends him to Detroit.
And then, again, Philadelphia's defense isn't very good. I mean, they got Ant Harris. He's going to be good. He's a nice signing for them. But he's not like a big Super Bowl division win move, in my opinion. But so, I mean, Washington literally looks like the most consistent team, like overall best team in that division right now, which is weird to say. But that's all I've got. Any other free agency signings that I missed that you want to add to George? No, shake. All right. For the listeners on Spotify, he shook his head no.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I like karate chopped my where the mic plugs into my computer. Sorry about that, but no, I don't think there's much more.
All right, yeah, and if any trades, anything like that happen, we'll do, that are good enough. We'll do an emergency pod. Tomorrow I'm going to be back and doing a March Madness round 1 going over all the games. I know George's ass is going to be on the couch watching all the games. And
yeah.
Yeah, and it's currently almost 2 a.m. there, and he's got to be up at 11 for when games start. So so I'm gonna let George get on out of here. Let my listeners know. I mean, they should already know, but where can they find you and your two and a half hoopers?
So yeah, Twitter and Instagram at TH Hoopers, all lowercase, as well as Spotify and YouTube. We post Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All that good stuff there, and especially on Instagram and Twitter too. Comment under one of our posts. Hey, shout us out. We'll shout you back out. Yeah, all that good stuff.
All right, awesome, George. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, J_sports_podcast. Follow me on Spotify, Apple, 5-star rating. And I will be back again tomorrow night for another podcast. Looking forward to it. But until next time, this has been Joshua Nokowski, the J Sports Podcast.